Karma Mini.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. How to make money, how to make friends, how to make muscles. So many how-tos people ask. But the most important question nobody asks, and that is how to die. Art of living is important, but more important is to know the art of dying. What is the right situation, right consciousness at the time of death, and what is the supreme destination to be achieved? This very important question will be answered by Lord Krishna in this chapter 8, Attaining the Supreme. This session is dedicated to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, our spiritual master and the founder and acharya of the worldwide Hare Krishna movement. Let us see verse number 1. Arjuna uvacha kim tad brahma kim adhyatmam kim karma purushottama adhibhutam cha kim proktam adhidaivam kim uchyate. Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahm? What is the Self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me. Lord Krishna explained in the previous chapter, Jara marana mokshaya mam ashritya yatantiye te brahm tadvidhu kritsnam adhyatmam karma chakhilam. Yesham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam. Those people who have finished all their impious reactions and are engaged in my devotional service, having taken complete shelter of me, they are endeavoring to get freedom from the process of birth and death. They are Brahma. Adhyatmam karma chakhilam te viduhu. They completely know about Adhyatma and Karma. So these technical terms Arjuna is asking here. They are called Brahma. What is the meaning of this Brahma? They know everything about Adhyatma and Karma. What is this Adhyatma and what is Karma? Same question he is continuing in the second verse also. Adhyagyaha katham kotra dehesmin madhusudana prayana kale cha katham Gyeyosi niyatatma bhihi. How does this Lord of Sacrifice live in the body? And in which part does he live, O Madhusudana? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death? What is this Lord of Sacrifice, Adhyagya? How does he live in this body? This term also Lord Krishna mentioned. Sadibhutadi daivam mam sadi yagyam chayevedu. So what is this Adhyagya, the Lord of Sacrifice who sustains all the sacrifices? And it is known that he lives in our body. So where does he live? How does he live? These important technical questions Arjuna is asking. And he is asking, at the time of death, how will it be possible for us to know you? Because the body and mind situation could be very, very chaotic. It's a very troublesome time. And at the time of death, the entire life is preparation for death. One should be able to remember Krishna. Why? That we will see in the coming verses. So how is it possible for an ordinary person? Because we are very much disturbed. It is very painful, the time of death, to remember Krishna. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Aksharam Brahma Paramam Svabhavodhyatma Muchyate Bhut Bhavodbhava Karo Visargaha Karma Sangyitaha. The Supreme Lord said, the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahma, and his eternal nature is called the Self. Action pertaining to the development of these material bodies is called karma or fruitive activities. Aksharam Brahma Paramam. Kshara means that which is destructible. Akshara means something which is indestructible. Everything we see in the material world around us, it is destroyed. Our bodies are destroyed, houses are destroyed. Any substance matter, it eventually gets destroyed. Entire matter is subject to destruction. But something which is not destroyed ever, that is called Brahm. And what is that? That is spirit soul. And we think, usually in our materialistic education, we have been trained to think this life is all in all, you enjoy. And thus people are under great stress to enjoy because there is no time, they have to do so much of work, and then they are getting old, and then they are in double whammy, what to do? Should I work or should I enjoy? And I have not enjoyed enough, I am going to die. If they have some failure in life, they get completely disturbed. If they get any physical problems, they get very much disturbed. This one life I have, and I've got this chronic disease in my body. I met with an accident, I could not crack good examinations, I could not have sufficient recognition in the society, I could not have good family members and whatnot. As soon as a person understands Brahma Bhuta, I am not the body, I am Brahm, Aham Brahmasmi, then he becomes completely undisturbed. Then he knows this life is just like a dream, a temporary situation. I am eternal, I am Brahm. So self should not be identified with body, that I am fit, I am unfit, I am white, I am black. Neither with the mind, I am intelligent, I am dull. These are all identifications of gross and subtle body, as we have seen in the previous chapter. So here Arjuna is asking, what is Adhyatma? What is self? So Krishna is telling, Swabhavo Adhyatmam Uchyate. The nature of the Brahm is actually self. The nature of body is not self. The nature of mind is not self. The nature of Brahm is the self. What is the nature of that Brahm? That spiritual substance? Every substance has got some nature. So the nature of that Brahm is Satchit Ananda. Brahm is eternal. Brahm is full of knowledge and Ananda. Brahm is full of bliss. So simply, if I am able to understand that I am Brahm, different from the body, I become completely self-realized, then our life is Satchidananda. We no longer take birth. There is no ignorance. There is all knowledge, and life is always blissful. Bhut bhavodbhava karo visargah karma sangyatah. What is karma? Bhut bhava udbhava karaha. That action which produces material bodies is called karma. So we are very fond of doing karma, but we do not understand this karma is the cause of all problems. It is creating more bodies. So simply action does not define that activity as karma, but any action. So Krishna has not told any action is called karma. The action which produces material bodies, that is called karma. Bhut bhavudbhava kara karma sangyataha. So that is why a person should be very, very careful. It is told in the Shastras. In Srimad Bhagavatam 11th Canto 9th chapter verse number 21, it is mentioned, Labdhva sudurlabham idam bahu sambhavante manushya marthadam anityam apiha dhiraha turnam yatet napatet anumrityu yavan nishreyasaya vishaya khalu sarvatasyat. So durlabham, durlabh means rare, so durlabh means very, very rare. This human form of life is a rare chance. Just like the student studies for an entire year, and then when he's sitting in the interview for getting a decent job, that is the most crucial time. At that time, if he is unconscious of his duty, then entire education is waste. So whatever he has studied for so many years, it is just so that he can perform at the time of interview. And this human form of life is that opportunity is very, very rare. So many lifetimes we have had, but this human form is very rare. There are Jalajanav Lakshani Sthavara Lakshavimshati, 9 lakh species of water, Navalakshani. Laksh Vimshati, 20 lakh species are there, which are sthavar, which are immovable like trees and plants. Krimio Rudra Sankhyakai, 11 lakh species are those of insects. Pakshinam Dash Lakshanam, 10 lakh species are there of the birds. Who has counted? God has created all the species, so He has given the count in the Vedas. So these many species are there in the universe, and human form of life is very rare. So once we have got this, we should prepare very nicely. What is the final moment in this human form of time? That is death. So here also, if we want to get a position, then our abilities are tested. Now nobody can open our heart and check our consciousness and brain, how much capacity a person has got. So that is why they have some gross arrangement. You write down on a piece of paper. So ultimately they need to check our subtle body. Is this person intelligent or not? But they cannot read and see intelligence. Ordinary beings do not have such capacity. So that is why they have IQ test and logical ability test, reasoning tests, and then they have interviews. In this way they want to figure out, is this person honest, is this person committed, is this person having interpersonal skills, and so many qualities of the subtle body they want to check. Ultimately they want to have a person of suitable attitude, suitable consciousness. And nature, being the potency of Krishna, need not take such artificial external tests. Nature directly tests our consciousness at the time of death. If you are having good consciousness, your mind and senses are controlled, body is controlled, you will be given higher bodies in which there are greater powers invested with you. If a person who is corrupt is given powers, he will create chaos in the society, so nature will not give. Nature tests at the time of death the consciousness. Urdhva gachanti sattvastha. If we have cultivated sattva guna in our life, that means avowedly being truthful, mind and senses are under control, simple living and high thinking, arjavam, forgiveness, tolerance, titiksha, all these qualities are there. Jnanam, Vijnanam, person has scientific knowledge, knowledge of the spirit soul, then such people are called Satvik. And Urdhva Gachanti, they are promoted to higher planetary systems, where the lifespan is very long, there are lot many more comforts as we have on this planet, and we are invested with insurmountable great powers of this material universe. So thus nature tests our consciousness, and if we lead our life the way most of the civilization is leading, ahar, nidra, bhay, maithunam, evacha, everybody is working very, very hard. Why we are working hard? So that I can have sex. This is the first choice. If we tell people do not have sex in your life, they will not be able to survive. Very, very difficult to control. Then eating, I want to eat. Nice arrangement for tongue satisfaction, belly satisfaction. And then measures for defense, ahar, nidra, and then nice place to sleep, nice big house I want to have. Animals also are working hard, running here and there for these 4 pillars only. So there is no difference between man and animals if both are working for these 4 pillars of life. Ahar, nidra, bhay, maithune, evacha. So that is why in this verse in Bhagavatam it is being mentioned, Vishaya khalu sarvatasyat, human life do not waste for sense enjoyment. That is available in all the species of life. Dog also enjoys so much of sex openly on the street without any marriage. So if you want to enjoy sex pleasure, human life is not fit. How much you can enjoy? Body gets tired. So many other restrictions are there, social restrictions, physical restrictions. Animals, they have many times in an hour, some birds and other species. So if you want to have sex, you go and take an animal body. But human form of life is to develop your consciousness, purify your existence so that you can enjoy such happiness which animals cannot dream of, cannot enjoy. That is called Brahma Sukha, spiritual happiness. And there is no more acceptance of these miserable bodies. What is this body? This body is simply full of miseries. We invest so much of our time, energy in loving some people around us, and their death is sure. We are never going to meet them ever again. Is such a life very happy condition to live? We get so much of knowledge and wealth, all that is lost. Diseases are bound to come, death is bound to come. So it is full of misery. The intelligent person who has knowledge should take the guidance of scriptures and understand, I am eternal. There is no need to take these material bodies, temporary bodies. So I want to revive my spiritual body and that will be tested basis our consciousness at the time of death. So we should not do karmas. If we do karma, fruitive activity, we want to enjoy some material results, then our consciousness will be to enjoy the material nature, and thus nature will give another material body. But we should do akarma, actions directly under the direction of Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, or his representative, the spiritual master. Such actions do not produce any results. So this can be simply done by taking shelter of spiritual master and knowing what is the direction of God given in the scriptures. And if we lead life according to that, understanding Lord's mission in this world, participate in that mission in our own capacity as educator and businessman, as a homemaker, or in whatever capacity. But in any capacity, we should participate in the mission of the Lord as per the direction we should add. Then such activities are called akarma. And the whole life, if you do very strictly akarma, then there is no more material body. So Arjuna has asked very nice question, what is this karma? And Krishna has answered, all those activities which produce material bodies, they are called karma. So we should be careful not to do karma, otherwise more bodies. Adhibhutam sharo bhavaha purushashchadhidaivatam adhiyagyoham evatra dehe deha bhritam vara. Physical nature is known to be endlessly mutable. The universe is a cosmic form of the Supreme Lord, and I am that Lord represented as the Super Soul dwelling in the heart of every embodied being. What is Adhibhutam? This material manifestation which is always changing, that is called Adhibhutam. So the energy which does not change, that is called Brahm, and the energy which is always changing, ever changing, that is called Adhibhuta, material nature. Then what is Adhidevatam? So this is also very important to understand. As we discussed in previous chapter, as is the macro, so is the micro. Universe is a complete unit in itself, and so are all of our bodies. Our bodies are also sample universe. The same principles apply, same arrangement is there. And even an atom is also sample universe. The same arrangement is there within the atom. The four principles of eating, mating, sleeping, defending are present even within the atom, Srila Prabhupada explains. So just as our body has got so many cells, and every cell is a living entity, we all know that cell has got life, and cell does all the functions that we do. Cell takes birth, cell grows, produces byproducts, and defends itself, and there is dwindling and ultimately vanishes, it is destroyed. So these 6 changes, wherever soul is present, all those bodies will undergo birth, growth, byproduction, maintenance, dwindling and vanishing. So many cells are present in the body. Every cell has got a spirit soul. Unless spirit soul is present, matter cannot show these changes: growth, byproducts, destruction, dwindling. So unless soul is present in the cell cannot show these 6 changes: birth, growth, maintenance, dwindling, vanishing, producing byproducts. So just like so many cells are there, and every cell is conscious about what is happening to itself. But anybody pricks any cell or tissue of my body, I become conscious immediately. So I am able to sense anything which is happening to all the cells of the body, but one cell may not be knowing what is happening to the cell next to it. In a similar fashion, just like the cells are part and parcel of my body, there are so many souls in this body. But the body is able to sustain itself because of the presence of primary soul, the living entity which is there in the heart, which is conscious of the entire body. When that soul moves out of the heart, then the body will not be able to maintain itself, and all those cells also will be destroyed automatically. Similar is the case with us and the universe, we are like small cells in the universal body. This entire universe is also a body, just like we have got this body now. And this body is called Adhidevatam, which is called the universal form of the Lord. We take these small forms, and the God also, when he enters this material universe, the universe takes certain shape. Just like when the soul enters the semen of the father, Then under certain suitable combination of the chemicals, those chemicals evolve into a body. Similarly, if the Supreme Soul God he has entered in this bubble of the universe develops into the forms that we see around us. Mountains, rivers, valleys, and so many other species of life, trees, they all develop because of the presence of one unique form of the Lord. Lord takes three primary incarnations which are called Purushavatas in this material world. Generally, we think Lord Vishnu is only one, but Vedas tell no. One, because in this material universe, demigods are able to approach just one of the Vishnu forms. Other two Vishnu forms are very rare to be seen by the living entities. So Vedas mention Vishnostu Trini Rupani Purushakhyani Atho Viduhu. Vishnostu Trini Rupani. There are three forms of Vishnu. Ekam tu Mahata Srishti. The first Vishnu, Mahavishnu or Karanodakshai Vishnu, creates the cosmic intelligence, the original substance from which this entire world is created. This world is nothing but transformation of intelligence. We want to create artificial intelligence. Krishna already has done that. That artificial intelligence is called Mahat Tattva, and that transforms itself into so many substances. Three modes of nature are there. They agitate, then the Mahat Tattva, and then we see the five gross elements, three subtle elements, and then everything develops later. So that Mahat Tattva is created by Mahavishnu. And then within this material world, Mahat Tattva is just like a cloud, just like the earth is covered by the cloud. And because of the cloud, we are not able to see the sun. Because of this covering of this Mahat Tattva, we are not able to understand the existence of spiritual world, which is full of effulgence and light. This is the universal geography explained. Geography telling in crude terms. The universal situation existence is explained in the Vedas. So this material world, which is 1/4 of the total creation, where repeated birth and death happens, in 3/4 portion, which is called Tripada Vibhuti in the Vedas, there is no repeated birth and death. Life is eternal over there. So in this 1/4 of the creation, which is called Ekapada Vibhuti, repeated birth and death happens. And here, when Mahavishnu enters this world, he produces many universes from his bodies. And all these universes are like anda, like eggs. Dvitiyam tu andasthansitam, the second form of Vishnu, enters in all these egg-shaped universes. If at all science advances, we do not know how science will advance so much because we are very small, insignificant. We don't know even our solar system very nicely. So if we analyze, go outside the universe, we will be able to perceive the shape which is like that of egg. Dvitiyam tu andasthansitam. So in this egg, the Lord enters in the form of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, second Vishnu. And then from the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, a lotus flower emanates. And in the stem of the lotus flower, so many universes are manifest, and you would have seen in the pictures if you visit or in some of the carvings in the ancient Indian temples, you will see Lord Brahma is manifest on top of the lotus. So in the stem of the lotus, all the planets are existing. Whatever planets we see around us, they are existing in the stem. Now this may appear to be some fantasy, but actually it is not. So when we carefully read, make an analysis, research work into this work, we will understand. All those sages who have dedicated their life just to find truth, who reject this material world as false even though it appears to be real to the majority, they have accepted that this is fact. So if we do research, we'll be able to understand. And it is fact also. There is umbilical cord, isn't it? That is connected from the navel of the mother to the navel of the child. That umbilical cord is the way through which the child receives nourishment. So similar structure is there from the navel of Mahavishnu. You can call it a cord or a lotus flower. It is actually the Vedas described. But the same thing which happens here with the humans also. In that, on top of that flower, there is existence of Lord Brahma. And thus, within those stems, so many planetary systems are manifest, and so many living entities are living on those planets. And Tritiyam Atma Bhutastham Tani Gyatva Vimuchyate. The third Vishnu form is called Kshirodakshai Vishnu. He lives on a special planet, Shir Sagar, here in this material world, Shvetadvip planet. And this third Vishnu, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, Atma Bhutastham, he enters the heart of all the living entities and into each and every atom. And the third form of Vishnu enters in the heart of all the living entities and into each and every atom. As is the micro, so is the macro. Lord Vishnu enters in the universe, he enters into an atom also and sustains it. Same principles are there everywhere. And Tani Gyatva Vimuchyate, if you are able to actually realize and understand these three Vishnus, three Purusha avatars existing in this material world, such a person becomes liberated. So in this way, the Lord enters in this material world. So when Lord Krishna, in the form of Lord Vishnu, enters in this material universe, the form which the universe takes, it is called Adhidevatam. And all the demigods, all the devatas are part and parcel of this universal body, just like so many cells and so many worms in our intestine. We have so many worms, bacteria, they're all part and parcel of this body. Similarly, all the devatas, they are part and parcel of this universal body. Now, although this universe is in the form of an egg, but those meditators, those spiritualists who are neophytes, who have just begun their process of meditation, who cannot understand the Lord who is present in the heart as Super Soul, that meditation is actually recommended. Yogi Hrid Dhyana Gamyam. The actual yogis, they meditate upon this form within the heart, but it is not easy to understand. Sometimes people may reject, oh, it is fantasy. Some people may tell, who has seen? If you are advanced, you can see. Just like scientists can see microorganisms or the macro celestial bodies by telescopes, laymen cannot see. So if we are able to advance in this learning in our consciousness, we will realize. So when the yogi he searches the super soul within the heart, he is able to see, then he advances in his meditation. But those who are not able to conceive, then they take this universal body itself as God. So this is easy to understand, that this universe also is developing. This body develops because of presence of spirit soul. The universe is manifesting so many forms because of presence of supreme spirit soul. So they meditate upon this universe. Whenever they see trees, they think, oh, these trees are hairs on the body of universal form of Lord. So they imagine this universe as a person. And the higher planetary systems, they are considered the head of the universal form. Lower planetary systems are considered the feet of this universal form. In this way, anything that they see around, when they see mountains, they consider them as the bones of the universal form. In this way, they try to meditate upon this universal form of God, which is not exactly spiritual, but also it is transcendental, because Lord himself has manifested this form. So those who cannot meditate upon the completely spiritual Paramatma form, who cannot understand or conceive, for them such meditation is recommended. At least you go beyond the bodily concept and try to meditate in some way or the other. Just like when there is cavalcade of the president may not be seen, but by seeing the presidential bodyguards and the special car in which he travels, one can understand there is president. So even though we cannot perceive the actual form of God, but by seeing the universe, we can understand, oh, God is present. It is indirect way of contemplating upon God, and that is recommended for the neophytes. So this is called Adhidevatam, the sum total of all demigods, the universal form. And that is called Purushaha. Adi Yagyo Aham Evatra. And then Krishna is telling, I am that Lord of the sacrifice, and I am living in the heart of all the embodied living entities. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yaf prayati samadbhavam yati nasti atra sanshayah. And whoever at the time of death quits his body remembering me alone at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. So as we were discussing, this human form of life is a preparation for death. Just imagine a child who has worked very hard to go into a good university, and he's completely unaware of the exam he has to face, and he wastes his entire time in university for nothing. The university also offers various programs for recreation, various sporting facilities, various cultural events, and so many other things, so that the student can study very nicely. Similarly, all the material comforts are offered by the material nature so that we prepare very nicely for this ultimate examination. And if the student gets lost enjoying the other facilities which are meant to support this education, the final exam, the placements, then all his entry, his hard work to come into that college is wasted. Similarly, we are wasting this human form of life if we are not preparing for death. Every moment we should be conscious. That is why it is told in Bhagavatam, Turnam yatet na patet anumrityu yavan, with great haste. Just like a sincere student with great haste would like to finish the syllabus. But in our case, we should have even greater haste, because we do not know when the final exam will be. The test would be surprise test. Any day, any time it can happen. Ahani ahani bhutani gacchanti yamalayam. So what preparation has to be done? This is the preparation. A suitable consciousness so that we can have the best body in the next life. Even a small atom does not appear by chance. We very clearly can define, those people who know this science, if these two atoms come together, then if temperature and pressure is this molecule will be produced. If they meet under different conditions, the output would be different. In a similar fashion, when man and woman come together, this is the consciousness, certain kind of child will be produced. The child will be man or woman, also depends upon the consciousness of man or woman who are mating. Whether girl child will come or boy child will come, it depends upon the parents, their consciousness. What would be the characteristics, the features, the qualities of the newborn baby also depends upon the consciousness of the parents. That is why in the Vedas there is Garbhadhan Sanskar. Their consciousness is purified so that suitable souls are brought here. So it's a great science how to bring a healthy child in body, in mind. It is a great science, and training is given to the parents. A ceremony is there, priest is called, purification of consciousness is there. It's not a secret affair, it's declared openly that now parents are going to conceive a child. There's proper date and time for that. There are times when, if mating happens, demoniac souls will come who are very lusty, greedy and disturbed. So this is a great science. An atom is not produced by chance. So this wonderful machine will happen to appear by chance? No. Unfortunately, there is no department where such sciences are discussed. This education was given in the Gurukul system. So we have to train our consciousness. Now the question can be, okay, I can become Devata. So which kind of body should I have? What should I do? That description is given. Just like now also, the description is given. We know if you work like this, you prepare like this, study these subjects, then you will end up as a police officer, and these are the comforts, these are the powers of police officer. If you want to enjoy like that, prepare like this. Or you want administrative services, then different thing, in a different way you have to prepare. You want to work as a scientist, then you have to prepare differently. You want to go into academia, you have to prepare differently. So depending on what kind of life we want to live, enjoy, different preparation is there. So just like now we hear from the books or from authorized sources, and we prepare accordingly. Similarly, different species, different planets, the life there is mentioned in the Vedas, and the yogis, they prepare accordingly and get those bodies. But the intelligent person should ask, which is the best body? Just like people ask, which is the best job? I want to have that. So that Krishna is telling here. So do not think of this thing or that thing at the time of death. Anta kale chamameva smaran muktva kalevaram. Smaran means remembrance. Anta kale means, anta means end, kala means time. At the final time of departure from this body, if you are thinking of me, yaf prayati mad bhavam, you will attain body of my nature. What is the nature of Krishna's body? Satchid Ananda, full of knowledge, eternity and bliss. We will get a similar body if we meditate on Krishna at the time of death. Why? Because Krishna explains the formula, how we can get next body. This is a great secret. That is why Krishna tells, now I'm going to tell you important secret knowledge. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajat ante kalevaram. Whatever a person thinks at the time of ante kalevar, kalevar means this body, tyajati means when we leave this body, whatever is our consciousness, tam tam eveti konteya, O Kunti Putra Arjuna, sada tad bhav, a body of similar nature, you will attain. So if a person has been very lusty and those activities at the time of death, entire life passes as a flash. So if a person thinks of those lusty activities, he will get a body in which he can act very lustily, but all those bodies, animal species, are full of suffering. Entire life, animal is very fearful, and anytime there is impending death, and it's very, very troublesome situation. So whatever person has done during entire life, death is a flashback of all those things. And similar body a person is able to get in the next life. But if a person does not know this, is not very careful, even one may be doing very nicely, just like Bharat Maharaj, after whom this planet, entire planet was called Bharatvarsha. Now this small country is called Bharatvarsha or India. So Bharat Maharaj was very advanced spiritualist. He renounced at the age of 24 years and he was highly advanced. He reached the 8th level of spiritual life, Bhava stage. And he was about to make his life perfect, but he somehow became attached to a deer. And he was young. He could not have, he would have thought that I will continue to live for some more time. But it so happened, one day the deer did not come back to his hut. And then he became very afraid. Other animals would have consumed the deer. He went out running madly for the deer. It became very dark. He started running and madly looking for the deer. And somehow he tripped off and he landed up in a very deep trench. And finally, he lost his life. And when he was about to leave his body, he was absorbed in the thoughts of deer, and the deer came and stood next to him. So because he was absorbed in the thought of deer, he became a deer in his next life. But because he was advanced devotee by mercy of Krishna, he was able to have memory of his previous life. Such people are called Jati Smara, who are able to remember their previous lives. So then he could understand, I did a great mistake in my previous life. Now I don't want to have any attachment of this material world. If I think of anything material, person, people, place, things, if we imagine, then our next birth will be centered around them. If we think of some house, we are attached to a house. If there is good karma, we'll take birth as human in that house, or if karma is bad, we'll take birth as cockroach or insect in that house. In that way, it is very dangerous. So Bharat Maharaj, knowing this law, he was very careful. He did not live with his deer community. He went near the hermitages of the great sages. He was taking the remnants of food items left by them, prasadam, because this is a great secret. The remnants of great sages, pure devotees, that is very, very powerful for spiritual advancement. So he was just taking that prasadam, and then he started doing fasting, and he left his deer body. Then he took again birth as Jad Bharat. He took birth in a very nice Brahmin family, cultured family, but he was knowing his past two births. So he was very careful. Now I don't want to entangle myself in this material world. So if I show I am intelligent, then again they will entangle me in regular material affairs. So he started behaving like a mad person. That is called Jad. Jad Bharat, mad Bharat. So you give him one instruction, he will do just the opposite. So thus people started neglecting him. So we think if people neglect it, it is not good. But for spiritualists, yes, unless you want to preach in the society and spread this knowledge, neglect is very, very good. If nobody cares for us, then we can very nicely think of Krishna always, engage in Krishna's service, and at the time of death, if we think of Krishna, then we get a body like Krishna. So this is very important, and this we should always keep in mind. The consciousness of Krishna, the thoughts of Krishna, that is why it is told in the Vedas. We all want to gain something here in this life. What is the biggest gain that a person can have? Labh. Labh means gain. Etavan Sankhya Yoga Bhyam Swadharma Parinishtaya Janma Labha Para Punsam Ante Narayana Smriti. The user manual of our life is telling us, you follow any path. Some people tell if you follow Gyan, you will attain this Brahmananda, this pleasure. Some people tell you follow this yoga, Ashtanga, then you will get mystical powers, Ashtasiddhis. And some people tell something else. So Vedas are telling you follow any path. You follow Sankhya, you follow yoga, or Swadharma Parinishtaya, you follow your own prescribed duties in the social status of life. Janma labha para punsam, but the greatest benefit which you should aim for, I'll repeat. But the greatest benefit which you should aim for by engaging in any path you want to follow is Ante Narayana Smriti. At the time of death, Narayan Smriti, remembrance of Lord Narayan or Lord Krishna. Because this is the secret. At the time of death, if you think of Krishna, you go to Krishna and you get a body like Krishna. Then there is no more death, birth, disease and old age. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha mayarpita mano buddhir mame vaishyasya sanshayaha. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. So here Krishna is giving now conclusion to Arjuna. Arjuna, I have told what should be the consciousness at the time of death. So thereby, rest assured, the best way for you is to always think of me at all times, because death can happen anytime, especially you are in war. Any moment you can be killed. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu. And the same situation is with all of us. Not Arjuna, we also can be killed at any time. Therefore, Krishna is telling sarveshu kaleshu, at all times, mam anusmara, you think of me. And if you simply sit and think of Krishna, then Arjuna may tell Krishna, then why you are telling me to fight? Then let me just think of you and let me sit in one place in my chariot or wherever you are, in your temple or personally with you. I will just see you and keep on thinking of you. No, it is not possible. Even though we may be looking at somebody, but our consciousness may not be absorbed. So in order to have Krishna in our consciousness, we cannot capture Krishna by such artificial means. I will keep on looking at you, Krishna, and then no, such artificial means will not work. What we have to do is, we have to please Krishna by our hard work in the mission of Krishna. So Krishna has a mission, paritranaya sadhuna vinashaya dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya, to spread this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, to save the devotees and to kill the demons. So we have to do these activities to serve the devotees and to now demons, of course, we cannot kill. Ordinary people, of course. So demoniac tendencies, but it can be killed. That is the way of killing demons in Kali Yuga. Kill their demoniac tendencies. How? Dharma sansthapanarthaya, by spreading this knowledge. So when we engage in such work like Arjuna, then thinking of Krishna will be possible, because Krishna will become visible. Just like Krishna becomes visible to his devotees externally, he becomes visible in the heart. And always one is able to think of Krishna. This is the actual way of thinking. Everything is under control of Krishna. If Krishna is pleased, he will automatically become visible in the heart. Therefore, Arjuna is being told not just to think of Krishna, but think as well as fight. So both things have to be done. We have to be very, very eager to think. Sarveshu kaleshu, at all times. At the same time, yudhyacha, we have to do our prescribed duty. We have got martial spirit, then very nice, you take occupation of fighting. But while fighting, always keep on thinking of Krishna. Mai arpit mano buddhir. And your mind and intelligence should be offered to me. In mind, you should think of the form as it is manifest before you, the Krishna's form. And buddhi, intelligence should also be used, because you are thinking how to serve Krishna. So you have to plan how to shoot the arrows, how to plan my phalanx strategy, how to attack the enemy, how to defend myself. In this way, intelligence is used in the service of Krishna. So mind should be absorbed in Krishna, intelligence should be absorbed in Krishna's service. In this way, mam evashyasi, mam eva, certainly, definitely, eshyasi, you will attain me, asanshayaha, without fail. So this is the very important instruction. This is the conclusion where Krishna will again repeat to Arjuna. He has repeated previously also, therefore fight, Arjuna is asking, why Krishna? Why should I fight? Why not this process? Why not that process? So now Krishna is giving him the answers. So this is an instruction for all of us. We should always think of Krishna, and we should carry out our duties and offer the results to Krishna. Now, this thinking of Krishna simply by imagining is also difficult. So what we have to do is that Krishna will explain further in the 9th chapter, next chapter. Satatam kirtayanto mam, always keep on chanting by name. Shravanam kirtanam Vishnoho smaranam. The smaran of Krishna is possible by Shravan and Kirtan. So always chanting, by incessant chanting of the names. That is why in Kali Yuga it is told, Kriteya dhyayato Vishnum. Ultimately we have to reach to the stage of smaran, remembrance of Krishna. So that was done by meditation in Satyuga. Leave all the duties and go to jungle and meditate. But this was not possible and practical even for Arjuna, who came at the end of Dwapar Yuga. This is practice of Satyuga, just sitting and simply meditating. In Treta Yuga, such meditation was achieved by doing yagyas, Tretayam yajito makhaye. Dwapar Yuga, it was attained by worshipping the deity in the temple. Kali Yuga, it is attained by Kalau Tad Hari Kirtana. The same result, constant absorption in the thoughts of Krishna, is attained by Hari Kirtanad, Kirtan, chanting the names of Hari. So thus what we have to do is develop this practice. Just like people have this habit, people are bathroom singers, they are taking bath and they are singing. They are driving and they are singing. They are walking and they are singing. Same habit we have to develop. And we are sitting in front of our computers, just see if you can chant and you can work also at the same time. While you are driving, you are working, you are exercising, you are doing any activity. Whenever tongue is free, we are eating, in between the morsels tongue is free, try to chant. Keep on chanting, vibrating Krishna's name satatam throughout the day. It is simple practice and we ourselves will perceive the results. So why not try it? So let us experiment this. Try to think of Krishna as far as possible. We have so many temples, nice forms of Krishna are there in the temple. But try to do that by chanting the names of Krishna. Chant and hear, focus on the vibration. Automatically those forms will be manifest. Then Krishna mentions in the next verse, Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanya gamina paramam purusham divyam yati parthanu chintayan. He who meditates on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Parth, Arjuna, is sure to reach me. So Krishna is telling here, now this is the sum and substance of spiritual life. Yati Parth Anuchintayan. Chintayan means remembrance of Krishna. Anuchintayan means constant remembrance of Krishna. His mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, is sure to reach me. Chetasa Nanyagamina. Chetasa means consciousness is never deviated. It is not going anywhere else. Now somebody may ask, how is it possible? And but one boy, he told me recently, yes Prabhu, I realized this instruction of Krishna which he tells, Chetasa Nanyagamina, mind should not go at all. This I realized when I had a breakup in my life. So when the girl whom I was loving, and then it appeared then we will never be together. And then whatever activity I am doing, I am cleaning my house, I am cooking, I am doing my work, I am not able to take her out of my mind even for a moment. So then I realized, if it is possible for the ordinary person in this material world, it is possible for Krishna also. So training is required, strong attachment is required. And when we sacrifice, work hard for Krishna, then such attachment for Krishna is bestowed upon us by the spiritual master. And when such attachment is invoked in the heart, then this is possible. Chetasa na anyagamina. So just like when Krishna left Vrindavan, usually we meditate, we sit down and do yoga so that we can remember Krishna. So somebody found gopis also sitting and meditating. Yeah, so gopis are also doing this yoga, sitting and meditating in the heart. So they asked, why you are meditating? So they told, oh, this Krishna, he has gone away. we are not able to forget him. So to forget Krishna, we are meditating. So this is the most advanced level of spiritual life. For ordinary people, remembering Krishna is struggle. For the advanced devotees like the gopis, the best devotees, the most advanced spiritualists, forgetting Krishna is a struggle. They cannot forget Krishna. So this is possible when strong attachment for Krishna is invoked in the heart. But this is what has to be attained. Parth Anuchintayan. That is why Vedas tell so many rules and regulations, so much training we have to undergo. All this training, all these do's and don'ts which become very bothersome at times. And people ask, what is the purpose behind this ritual, that ritual? So the Vedas explain what is the purpose. Smartavyam satatam Vishnu vismartavyo na jatu chit. Constant remembrance of Krishna, satatam vismartavyo na jat. Never forget Krishna, always remember Krishna. Sarve vidhi nisedasyu etayoreva kinkaraha. All the vidhi and nished, do's and don'ts, are eva kinkara. Kinkar means servant. They are servant of this principle. All the do's and don'ts of the Vedas are servant of this principle. Always remember Krishna. Smartavyam satatam Vishnu vismartavyo. Never forget Krishna, because this is a preparation for death. At the time of death, I should be able to consciously, constantly think of Krishna. Because mind body could be in great pain. That time also we should not forget. Death could be sudden any time. So that is why constant remembrance should be there. So whenever there is any confusion in life, what should I do, what should I not do, which job should I pick up, which business should I pick up, where should I live, which place should I choose, this should be the criteria. All the rules and regulations are kinkara, subservient. They are servants of this principle. Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Next important word is Purusham. Purusham Divyam Yati. So Supreme Lord is not energy, he is Purush. Purush means a person, personality. Yati, he attains this Supreme Person who is Divyam. Of course, not like us, having flesh, body, bones, mucus, and these nasty stuffs in the body. His body is completely spiritual. But the absolute truth is Purush. Repeatedly Krishna is telling Purush, Purush, Purush. This explanation that absolute truth is simply an energy has created disinterest in spiritual life. Who wants to merge with energy? No, I want to have interaction with people, laugh, joke, and hang around with, eat with them, and enjoy life with them. Yes, that is possible with Supreme Lord. He is a person. That is why reading this Bhagavad Gita is very important to realize that Supreme Absolute Truth is a person, not simply some energy. Now another question can be asked here. Why Krishna is speaking in third person? He who meditates on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Chetasa Nane Gamina Paramam Purusham Yati, his mind constantly engaged in thinking of the Supreme Person, undeviated from the path. Why this third person Krishna is telling? Because Krishna is quoting. It is not that it appears when you read some verses of the Bhagavad Gita. So therefore, surrender to the Supreme Person. This is most important. As if Krishna is somewhere else and Supreme Person is some other person, third person. No, it is happening because Krishna is also quoting the Vedic authorities. So thus Krishna wants to establish nobody should speak any knowledge without the Vedic authorities. They are the user manual. Any other knowledge is one's understanding of the world, which may or may not be fact. So perfect knowledge is given only in the Vedas. So therefore Krishna is quoting authorities here and in many other places. So you'll find such third person shlokas where Krishna is telling, so now you surrender unto that person. So do not think that that person we have to surrender not to Krishna, because Krishna has told, Antakale cha mam eva smaran muktva kalevaram. One who thinks about me and leaves body is sure to attain me. So Krishna has mentioned that also. You think of me, you attain me. But why Krishna is telling you think of the Supreme Person? He is quoting the Vedic authority, the shlokas. Just like a lawyer quotes from the law books, similarly, Krishna is explaining to Arjuna, this is the version of Vedic authorities also. One should think of the Supreme Person. Same thing I am telling here now. So think of me. I am the Supreme Person. And this thinking is possible by constantly chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram Anoranyansam Anusmaredyaha Sarvasya dhataram achintya rupam aditya varnam tamasaf parastat. One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and being transcendental is beyond this material nature. So how we have to meditate upon Krishna? Not as somebody who also was a person but more powerful, a great king, no. Kavim Puranam, as one who knows everything, who is omniscient. He knows everything past, present and future. And Puranam, not the person who appeared 5000 years ago and then he also died. Puranam, the oldest person, because all the human beings, non-human beings, all the entities and matter is coming from him. So in this way one has to think of Krishna. In proper knowledge, this is also very important. If we think of Krishna in improper knowledge, proper result may not be attained. So one has to think of Krishna. Now Krishna is telling further. So one may tell, okay, yes, so I will think and I have understood. No, you have to think of Krishna in full knowledge of Krishna. What is knowledge? Kavim, he is knowing everything. Puranam, he is the oldest person. Do not mistake him as someone who appeared 5000 years ago, who is merely messenger, not messenger. He is Supreme Personality himself. All messengers are sent by him. When he comes, he also gives messages as a pastime. Anushasitaram. Anushasitaram means controller. Anoraniyansam anusmaredyaha. One who is the smaller than the smallest. Sarvasya dhataram, atom is smallest. Within the atom also Lord Krishna enters. Sarvasya dhataram achintya rupam. He is the maintainer of everybody. We see there is nice maintenance happening. The offsprings are maintained in the egg, in the womb. How they are being maintained, it's a great mystical machinery. How the body is developing within the egg. Isn't it so amazing? Perfect arrangement is there. The wings, the tummy, all the veins, arteries, everything will develop automatically in the ovary or in the egg. Such a wonderful arrangement, automatic arrangement. So who has set up this automation? Who is maintaining? Who is giving intelligence to bird? Go and sit on the egg so that hatching can take place, birth can take place. All this wonderful arrangement. This maintenance is done by the Supreme Person himself. And very important word is achintya rupam. So in Vedas, the Supreme Personality is called Arupam also, and he is called Divya Rupam or Achintya Rupam also. And sometimes within the same verse you will find both kinds of addresses, as it is mentioned, I think, in Gajendra pairs. Arupayor Rupaya Nama Ascharya Karmane. Arupaya, Ururupaya, both words are used. The Supreme Personality is called Arupa, who has got no form, who is invisible. And Ururupaya means he has got many forms. So how do we understand? Arupam, he is having no forms, and Ururupaya, he has got many forms? Yes. So both are possible because it is taken from in which context we have to understand this thing is being spoken. For example, if you want to tell a small child about water, if he speaks English, you have to tell, do you need water? Then he will tell yes. If you tell him, do you need jala? Or do you need vari? You need ambu, which are the Sanskrit names for water. He may not understand. You have to speak in the language in which he or she understands. Ghosts we call invisible. Why invisible? Because we are not able to see. You tell what is ghost, define a ghost. Ghost means somebody who is invisible, but then too he may act and he has got existence. No, we are not able to see. For us, they may be invisible, but for others, many species, they are visible. So it depends upon the context in which the reference is being made. So for ordinary mundane people like us, God is invisible. The spirit substance is invisible. So that is why he is called Arupam. He is having no form. And he is having but a real form. If God is having no form, then how so many forms will exist? So that is why here it is being called Achintya Rupam. He has got a Rupa, but it is Achintya, it is inconceivable. For example, if somebody asks you, what is the taste of stool? And you will tell, oh, nasty. But the same question you ask a pig, how is stool? He will tell, oh, tasty. So pig is nasty or tasty depends upon what is the context. If you have to tell a pig to do some work, you will tell, I will give you something very tasty stool, and he will agree. But the same stool for us, it is very nasty. Both of us are having different, experiencing different features or different taste in the same substance. So stool is nasty or tasty depends upon the context, upon the reference. So whether God is visible or invisible depends upon the context. So when explanation of God is given in the context of materialists, he is addressed as Arupam, invisible. And when he is addressed in the context of liberated souls, actual absolute existence, he is called Achintya Rupam or Divya Rupam. So that word is used here, Achintya Rupam. Your form is, you are having a form, but that is inconceivable. We cannot conceive that form with this brain. And then further it is explained, Aditya Varnam, and that form which is inconceivable, which our material minds cannot conceive of, that is Aditya Varnam, that is effulgent. So much light like sun is coming out of that form. So very clearly we can see shloka after shloka, the stress is being given to the personality of Godhead. He is Purusham, Chetasa Nanya Gamina Purusham Divyam. He is a person, and that person is Achintya Rupam. He is having inconceivable form, and he is maintaining everyone. He is Kavim, he is knowing everything, he is the oldest, and he is Aditya Varnam. He is effulgent. Lot of light is coming out of his body. Prayana kale manasa chalena bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva bhruvor madhye pranam aveshya samyak satam param purusham upayati divyam. One who at the time of death fixes his life hair between the eyebrows and in full devotion engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So now here Krishna is defining the general process of such remembrance at the time of death. So general people, they have to move in this gradual process. They have to do Karma Kanda, then Karma Yogi, Jnana Yogi, then Dhyana Yogi, and after Dhyana Yogi, they have to become Bhakti Yogi. So ordinary person has to follow this process. Yoga Balena Chaiva, by the strength of this yoga practice, Bhruvor Madhye Pranam Aveshya Samyak, the Pranavayu has to be brought here in between the eyebrows. Fixing his life hair between the eyebrows and in full devotion, but devotion is important. After Dhyana Yoga, this meditation, but full devotion is important. So after Dhyana Yoga, you have learned how to meditate. Now you develop loving service for the Supreme Person. In this loving attitude, in Bhaktya Yukto, unless a person is having this loving devotional attitude, then Dhyana Yoga will not be fruitful. We'll go to any other planet. We can go even to spiritual world, but we will gain impersonal liberation. We'll be floating there as a spiritual spark. But Paramam Purusham Yati, if we have to attain the association of the personality of Godhead, then here it is mentioned clearly, Bhaktya Yukto. Jnani only or a simple yogi will not be able to do that. A yogi, when he is Bhaktya Yukto, when he becomes advanced, so much advanced that he becomes Bhaktya Yukto, engaged in devotional service, then Satam Param Purusham Upayati Divyam. Again it is mentioned Param Purusham, Purusham, person, Supreme Person, Upayati Divyam. He attains in that. Divya means spiritual, transcendental place or kingdom. So general process Krishna will describe in next 2-3 verses which people have to follow, and then the easy and the most suitable process also Krishna will describe. So what is the general process? This one, raising the life hair, fixing in between the eyebrows. Yadaksharam ved vido vadanti vishanti yad yatayo vitaragah yad icchantu brahmacharyam charanti tatte padam sangrahena pravakshe. Persons learned in the Vedas who utter Omkara and who are great sages in the renounced order enter into Brahma. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. Sarvadvarani sanyamya manohridi niruddhya cha murdhyadhayatmanah pranam astito yoga dharanam. The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga. So this is called pratyahar. One has to stop seeing the external beauties, external forms, and see the beauty of the Lord within the heart. One has to stop hearing all the external sounds, and one has to hear the Omkara from within and pulling the senses within. This is called pratyahar. Then a person is able to advance to the stage of samadhi. Om ityekaksharam brahma vyaharan mamanusmaran yah prayati tyajan deham sayati paramam gatim. After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. So Om is impersonal representation of Krishna. So the understanding of personality of Godhead requires very advanced stature in spiritual life. So those who are not able to understand the person of God, then for them the name Krishna is name of a person who appeared 5,000 years ago. They take more interest in chanting Om, but still they have to think of the personality of Godhead. This bhakti is important, but they think that this person, this form is not to be ultimately attained. It is also an imaginative form, a temporary form which is made up of Maya, material energy. Just like all of us pick up temporary forms, this Krishna's form is also temporary. It is made up of material energy. But still, they have to meditate upon the form of Krishna if they want to have any substantial achievement. A tinge of bhakti is required everywhere. Whether a person wants to simply do Ashtanga Yoga, merge in the body of Krishna, go to Brahma Jyoti, attain whatever, this tinge of bhakti is required. But when a person is having pure bhakti, then he does not go for some impersonal liberation, but goes to have a personal form for himself, and he sees personally Supreme Lord face to face. So such persons, they chant Om, and then they go and merge either in the Brahma Jyoti or in the body of Krishna. But if they are able to understand this Om is nothing but Krishna only, his impersonal representation, and in this way they are able to think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, understanding this form is not illusory, made up of material energy, that is completely spiritual, then they are also able to attain the spiritual kingdom. So thus it is completely a matter of consciousness. Two yogis are sitting, both are chanting Om, leaving their bodies, but it depends upon consciousness. Both may be thinking of Krishna. One is thinking of Krishna as some temporary form, another is thinking of Krishna as an eternal Satchidananda form. The end results are different. Ananya cheta satatam yo mam smarati nityashaha tasyaham sulabhav partha nityayuktasya yoginaha. For one who remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. So here unalloyed pure devotional service is being explained. In the previous verses, these paths impersonalists also can take. They can also sit, put the pranavayu in between the eyebrows and raise the soul to the top of the head and then go for the spiritual atmosphere. They may attain impersonal liberation also. But here pure devotional path is recommended. Ananya cheta satatam, one who remembers me without deviation. Satat means constantly. Mam smarati nityashaha, mind is absorbed in me, consciousness is absorbed in me. Tasyaham, aham means I, tasya to them, sulabha, sulabha means very easily attainable. The previous process we saw, it's not easy. going in the mountains and doing Ashtanga Yoga, Arjuna rejected. So Arjuna may ask that, Krishna, why you are again telling this to me? I just told I cannot do this. So Krishna is telling no. So this is the principle. Ordinarily, if a person has no proper attachment for me, then you have to control your senses, do this artificial mechanical process so that the mind and body do not get pulled away by the material nature. So bring it in a state of equilibrium, no disturbance. But the devotees who are nitya yuktasya yoginaha, those yogis who are always engaged in my service, constantly absorbed in thoughts of me, for them I am easily attainable. They need not bother about this external arrangements. Mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsiddhim paramam gatah. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. Important word used in this verse is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Why we are so much engaged day in and out? Because we think, if I work in this fashion, I will become happy. I will get sukha. But the Supreme Creator has put a label on this world, in this creation, and that label is, Krishna has mentioned here, dukkhalayam ashashvatam. This place is dukh alay. Alay means abode and dukkha means misery. This place is abode of miseries. Now, if we go to mental asylum and we want to find a sane person there, that is not the nice place. We'll be frustrated. Similarly, if we want happiness here in this world, we will only meet with more and more frustration, because this place is dukkhalayam. Always there will be misery in this place, and that is why we have realized in our life, the whole world, they are now having departments of consciousness. This is the course most enrolled and in some of the Ivy League colleges. People want to understand, now we have studied enough of technology and other subjects. Now please teach us, how do we become happy? Happiness course curriculums are there in many good schools now. People want to explore. So Krishna is telling, rest assured, you will never be happy in this world, because this world is dukkhalayam. It is full of miseries. You may tell, no, I am very happy, I am situated. Not, it's why you are so pessimistic. We are not pessimistic. You might be happy for some time, but Krishna is telling ashashvatam, that situation is temporary. That so-called happiness is also illusory, what we are feeling, but even if one is satisfied in that, Krishna is telling ashashvatam, we all know that is temporary. By force of time, this situation will go away. So we have to understand, in this material world, there is only misery. So if we are planning, after some time I'll be happy, no. The solution is to move away from this material world, asatoma sadgamaya, to the spiritual world, transport ourselves. Human life is meant for tapasya. And if one is very sincere, one meets a pure devotee, even in this life, one can, even though the body is visible in this material dimension, person will be completely undisturbed if we are situated on spiritual dimension. This training we need to acquire as soon as possible if we want to become happy now before death in this life. So for a devotee, Vishwam Purnam Sukhayate, for him entire world is full of happiness, because even though the body appears to be present in this visible dimensions, the soul, the person proper, is always absorbed on spiritual plane. So if we are also able to transport ourselves to the spiritual plane, we will not be conscious of these physical miseries around us. So how to elevate ourselves to the spiritual plane even while living within this body? This is the art which is called Krishna consciousness. So this we need to learn. So they are called great souls who know this art. Mahatma, who are the Mahatma? They attain some siddhi, the topmost perfection of life. And such people, na apnuvanti, they don't come back to this material world which is full of repeated birth and death. Mam upetya, because they have attained me. Those people who attain personal association of Krishna, they don't return to this material world. Abrahma bhuvana loka punar avartinorjuna Mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. So here there are various planets, and now the technologists are willing to go to moon planet. But Krishna is telling, please do not aspire for that. Ah Brahma Bhuvana Lokan, what to speak of moon? There is a planet on which there is no gross body itself, that is called Brahma Loka. There is only subtle body, mind, intelligence, and false ego. No misery is created by these gross elements. But there also death is there. Punaravartino Arjuna. Even if you live there, once your punya is exhausted, you have to come back again to this planet. So any planet you go of this universe, death will be there, old age will be there, disease will be there, and birth will be there. So work hard to reach spiritual planets, Krishna is telling. Ma Mupetya, come to me, come to my planet. Don't aspire for any place in this material universe. Now Krishna is telling the situation of topmost planet of the universe, which is almost like spiritual world. Lifespan is huge. Trillions of years people live over there in that planet. Miseries are almost very, very less. But from there also, if people don't cultivate Krishna consciousness, they have to come down again. Sahasrayuk paryantam aharyad brahmano viduhu ratim yuga sahasrantam teho ratra vido janah. By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together is the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night. So we talk of relativity and time dilation, and this thing is mentioned here. So the difference of time is explained on different planets. The time is also different. It is being explained here. Sahasrayuk paryantam aharyad brahmano viduhu. If a person spends one day over there in Brahmaloka, who is this Brahma, his planet is called Brahmaloka, the engineer of this universe, he is called Lord Brahma. So if you go and live there on his planet, then one day you spend there equals 1,000 yugas here. The yuga in which we are living, that is called Kali Yuga. Only 5,000 years have been counted. 4,27,000 years are balance. Then twice is Dwapar Yuga, thrice is Treta Yuga, 4 times is Krita Yuga or Sat Yuga. And these 4 yugas combined together, 43,20,000 years, that makes one Divya Yuga. So 43,20,000 years into 1,000 Sahasra Yuga, this is equal to 1 day of Brahma. So we can just count 43,20,000 years into 1,000 years. That is equal to 1 day spent in Brahma, in Brahmaloka. And equal is the time of night. 1,000 Divya Yugas is the duration of one night of Brahmaloka. So how huge is the day? So one moment you spend in Brahmaloka, 1 year would have passed on this planet. And this is mentioned in Bhagavatam, when Brahma kidnapped Krishna's cows and calves and his other cowherd friends. Just for a moment he went to keep them, and then he looks back, and then 1 year has passed on this earthly planet. So all these wonderful things are explained. Time is a real energy, and the time is different on different planets. Avyaktad vyaktaya sarvaha prabhavantyah ragame ratriyagame praliyante tatraiva vyakta sangyake. When Brahma's day is manifest, this multitude of living entities comes into being, and at the arrival of Brahma's night, they are all annihilated. So now Krishna is describing Jnanam, the knowledge of phenomenal world. So multitudes of living entities that we see around us, they are manifest. Prabhavati ahar agame. Ahar means daytime. And when Brahma's night arrives, they are all dissolved and destruction happens in this universe. In these repeated cycles of creation and destructions, living entities are manifest in the day of Brahma for 1000 Divya Yugas, and for 1000 Divya Yugas, there is annihilation. Bhutagramasya evayam bhutva bhutva praliyate ratriagame vashah partha prabhavatyharagame. Again and again the day comes, and this host of beings is active, and again the night falls, O Parth, and they are helplessly dissolved. Parastasmatu bhavonyo vyakto vyakta sanatanaha yassas sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyati. Yet there is another nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. This is the noumenal world. So this is great revelation. Krishna is telling, Parah Tasmat. Now Krishna has explained the situation of this material world. In the day of Brahma, creation happens, at night, annihilation. Helplessly all the living entities are dissolved. Paraha means beyond, Tasmat means from this, Bhavaha means nature, Anya means different. There is a different nature, a different existence which is beyond the boundaries of all these multitudes of universes. Vyakto vyakta sanatanaha. So some portion of this material universe is manifest that we see, and some portion is unmanifest, what the scientists might be considering as dark energy now. So Krishna is telling it is unmanifest. But beyond this manifest and unmanifested zones of the material world, Vyakta and Avyakta, there is different nature, and that is Sanatanaha. Yassas sarveshu bhuteshu. It is a supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is. So this is a great revelation. There is a place which is not destroyed, because time energy has no influence in that sphere. So people do not know. So this is a great subject matter. So great many scientists have come and they have gone. So let us save time and let us not die in ignorance of this knowledge. And let us try to have a sincere study of the Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, so that we can understand these wonderful explanations given here. So if you go to that place, then even though this material world is being created and destroyed, that part of the existence, it is eternal, it is Satatam. Avyakto ityuktas tam ahuf paramam gatim yam prapyana nivartante tadhama paramam mama. That supreme abode is called unmanifested and infallible, and it is the supreme destination. When one goes there, he never comes back. That is my supreme abode. So here Krishna is telling, that place is called unmanifest, Akshara. That place is never destroyed and it is not manifest to us, conditioned souls. Iti uktaha, it is said. Why it is said like that? Because all of us are conditioned souls here. Spirit is unmanifest. So that world is called unmanifest. There is a world, people know that, but it is called by different names. People call it Avyakta, people call it Akshara. Tam ahuf paramam gatim. Gati means destination. Paramam gati means that is the supreme destination. So if you want to embark on a journey at the time of death for a better habitation, the best destination is that abode where Krishna lives personally. Yad gatva na nivartante. Once you go there, you don't come back again to this material world. So Krishna is telling, even you have very long lifespan. In Brahmaloka, the lifespan is 311 trillion years. So if you have such a long lifespan, still after that you have to come down. It may appear very long, but from the point of view of eternity, that is like a flash. So in the universal time scale, so many Brahmas are coming and dying. They are just like the bubbles coming on the surface of an ocean and disappearing. So such a long lifespan is nothing on an eternal scale, and we are eternal. So ultimately, we have to come back to the miserable life forms. So to avoid that, Krishna tells, go to a place from where there is no return to repeated birth and death. And Tad Dham. Dham means the place, the abode. That is my abode, that is my planet. Tad Dhamam Paramam Mama. Mama means my. I also live on a planet, and that is my planet. So Krishna is present everywhere by his expansions, and Krishna is eternally, permanently present in his own abode. Purushasya paraf partha bhaktya labhyastvananyaya yasyantasthani bhutani yena sarvam idam tatam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading, and everything is situated within him. Now Krishna is telling again, do not consider me as a limited person. I have a dham, I live there in my dham. No. Purusha sa para partha bhaktya labhyastu ananyaya. Again it is being mentioned, Krishna wants to enforce person. God is a person. But paraha, don't think him as an ordinary person. So these two words are used. Para Purusha, Param Purusha, or Divyam Purusha. So God is also a Purush, but he is Param, he is Divyam, he is transcendental, he is spiritual. And that Supreme Person is attained by Bhaktya tu Ananyaya, unalloyed devotion. We do bhakti, but that bhakti is mixed sometimes with karma. Oh, let me do bhakti so that I can have some material benefit. Good job, good business, good spouse, or good children, or whatever. Some material desire is there. Or the desire is there to become one with the Supreme, to attain moksha. This is also selfish desire. I want peace. God, you remain at your place. I will remain at my place, remain absorbed in Brahma Jyoti. But when a person does not want anything for himself or herself and simply desires satisfaction of Krishna, that is called Ananya Bhakti. I do not want anything. You want to give me pain, you give it. You want pleasure, that also I will accept. I simply want to give pleasure to you. This is called Ananya Bhakti. And if anybody shows this attitude to God, will not God be pleased? Will God not reciprocate? Why we want to reciprocate? Because this feeling is present in God also. And if God wants to reciprocate, then who can stop the blessings and benedictions? Life is successful. So only such people are able to attain that person, Krishna is telling, who have Ananya Bhakti. Others also may go to spiritual atmosphere. They may float as a particle of light. As people tell, we have to merge in the light. That is fact. But that is not very nice living. That is like spiritual suicide. Your spiritual body did not develop and you remain just in a floating state. I exist. Suppose you exist and all your senses are shut down. Then it may be peaceful for some time. You don't see the person who disturbs you. Hunger will not disturb you and all these things. But how long? We want enjoyment. So thus that stage is not recommended in the Vedas. Because we are spirit souls, we are active, we cannot stay satisfied for very long time even in that situation. So attainment of personality of Godhead is required. His association and spiritual activities are recommended. But person will reveal himself only when he sees Ananya Bhakti, pure love. And Krishna is telling, now do not think of me as an ordinary man. Yasyanta sthani bhutani yena sarvam idam tatam. Although I am present in my abode, I am all pervading, I am everywhere. This is God's inconceivable form. Although the form is present at one place, yet God is present by his energies everywhere. And all the energies are situated in him. So one should not think of this when we encounter it for the first time. We may consider it as fantasy, but please always bear this concept in the mind. These Vedas are approved by which kind of audience who have sacrificed all the real appearing pleasures of this world as illusory. Great kings, great sages, powerful sages who can manifest anything and everything. They have left everything in search of truth, and such people have approved the Vedas. So an ordinary person cannot observe the quarks, mesons, neutrons, electrons, protons. He believes on the authority of scientists. So when we talk of Vishnu who has entered within the atom, we also believe on the authority of such spiritual scientists. We do not know the black holes and so huge that they can devour many big planets. So we also should believe on a very big personality from whom the various planets and universes are coming out. So for the micro and macro, we depend upon material scientists, just like now we are doing. We can depend also on the spiritual scientists who have dedicated their life to find truth. And this knowledge comes without any change. Modern scientific theory is a change after some time. Sometimes they will tell solar system has got 9 planets, then they will tell Pluto does not belong to our solar system. They will tell Sun is 15 million years. I'll repeat. They will tell Sun is 15 million miles away. Then they will tell 93 million miles away. The theory keeps on changing. But the Vedic theory does not change, because it is coming from God. So please, I request, these concepts may be new, but if we do research, if we have a systematic study, then we'll be thoroughly convinced by all these concepts. So please try to spend time, and then everything will be revealed gradually. It's a scientific study, Krishna is telling. One has to spend time, one has to have proper guidance. So this is real. Just like we have moon, it is solid substance. Just like this planet moon, we have got another planet, many planets, which are made up of spirit. It is easy to understand, no? Just like we have body, which is completely made up of water, and there is life. Fishes and so many species are there. In the water, there is life. Similarly, within the earth, so many germs, microbes, snakes, they live. There is life within the earth. So just like there is life within the earth, there are water bodies, they sustain life. There is fiery body, sun, there also life is there. Similarly, there is a spiritual body, also spiritual planet, and life exists on spiritual planet also. And that is the actual life which is eternal on spiritual planets. Yatra kale tvanavrittim avrittim chaiva yoginaha prayata yanti tam kalam vakshyami bharatarshabha. The best of the Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, one does or does not come back. Now, when a yogi is planning to leave the body, that has to be done also at a proper time. So what is that proper time that Krishna is going to explain now? Agnir Jyotir Aha Shuklaha Shanmasa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Brahma Vido Jana. Those who know the Supreme Brahma pass away from the world during the influence of the fiery god in the light at an auspicious moment. During the fortnight of the moon and the 6 months when the sun travels in the north. Dhumo ratris tatha Krishna Shanmasa Dakshinayanam Tatra Chandrama Samjyotil Yogi Prapya Nivartate. The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the moonless fortnight, or in the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, or who reaches the moon planet, again comes back. So directly Krishna is telling, don't aspire for moon planet, because you will come back. Shukla Krishne gati hyete jagata shashvate mate ekaya yatyana vrittim anyaya vartate punaha. According to the Vedas, there are 2 ways of passing from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back, but when one passes in darkness, he returns. So these are various times. There is proper passage of the soul which is arranged by various demigods of this universe. So those people who want liberation, the fire, moon, sun, they provide suitable path for liberation. So if the soul leaves the body at suitable time, either by preparation, the yogis prepare, they know all these descriptions are there in the Vedas, they wait for that moment. The number of breaths that we will take is fixed, not the years actually. So thus by the process of pranayam, they are able to elongate their breathing cycle, and just at the proper time they will finish their breathing cycles and they will leave. So either by practice or by accident also somebody can die at that time, but that time the path is open for liberation. So that soul will attain liberation. And at the other time, when it is darkness, in the moonless fortnight, and these times when a person passes away, then he will come back. He will have to return to this world. But Krishna is telling, Nayate sriti partha janan yogi muhyati kaschana tasma sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhavarjuna. The devotees who know these two paths, O Arjuna, are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. So Krishna is telling, but a yogi who knows well about these two paths, he is not disturbed. Because yogi, bhakti yogi, is always absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. Whenever he leaves the body, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam, at the time of death also he will be thinking of Krishna. But the yogi, a devotee, bhakti yogi who knows these two paths, he is not at all disturbed, not bewildered by these two paths, does not wait for an auspicious moment. His entire life is auspicious because every moment he or she is thinking of Krishna. So in this way, when we meditate always on Krishna in bhakti yoga, whenever we leave body, in day, night or whichever time, success is assured. Therefore, Krishna is telling, always be fixed in devotion. Tasma sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhavarjuna. Always be fixed in devotion. Then Krishna concludes this chapter by this important knowledge. Vedeshu yagyeshu tapassu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvam idam viditva yogi param sthanam upayati chadyam. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing austere sacrifices, giving charity or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. At the end, he reaches the supreme abode. Vedeshu yagyeshu tapasu chaiva. These are different grades of activities in which a person is educated, as we have kindergarten, primary level, high school, senior secondary. So initially Vedeshu, in the Gurukul, first of all develop knowledge, read the Vedas. What is this world? Who am I? What is the aim of life? What is the ultimate destination? How to attain that? So Vedic studies done by the brahmacharis. Vedeshu yagyeshu. Then when a person, if it is required, they enter household life. In household life, the performance of yajna is the prime duty. Because householder engages in fruitive activities for personal enjoyment, this enjoyment is allowed only by doing yajnas. So whether a person is reading the Vedas as a brahmachari or he is engaged in yajnas, dana, charity, a householder is known by his charity. Charity is the most important work for a householder for spiritual advancement. And then when a person moves away from household life, a person need not always, he is not recommended to stay in high school. One has to move to higher secondary level. So one has to move out of the household life and then become vanprastha. Husband and wife can spend time in jungle or in holy places or live around a temple. This is why retirement was taken. Now people retire to enjoy material life, whatever assets they have built. No, retirement is meant for austerity, tapasya. Now enjoyment is over. Human life is meant for ante narayana smriti. Now practice tapasya so that material forces don't make our mind mad. Mind is controlled so that it can focus on Krishna. So vanprastha life, husband and wife are meant to execute rigorous tapasya, voluntarily accepting discomforts. And various mystical powers a person develops by doing tapasya, but one should not get carried away. So one should not think, if I follow this process of yoga, then I'll miss the mystic powers of doing various tapasya. I will miss the material comforts which we get by doing yajna. I will miss knowledge of liberation which we get by reading the Vedas. No, it is mentioned here, Yat punya phalam pradishtam. Whatever a person gets by studying Vedas, doing yajna, doing tapasya, everything is attained in one stroke. Ateti tas sarvam idam viditva yogi param sthanam upayati chadyam. He attains everything, a person who is engaged in devotional service. And at the end, he comes to me, comes to my supreme abode, my supreme planet. So this easy process of Krishna consciousness is being recommended here. So till here, Krishna has explained the bhakti yoga, everything. Now Krishna is explaining in relation to Bhakti Yoga. Even if you are Jnani, even if you are Ashtanga Yogi, you have to come to the point of Bhaktya Labhyastu Ananyaya, Ananya Bhakti. And now Krishna will explain the most secret knowledge, the direct process of Ananya Bhakti. In this, there is no need to go to mountain, to sit over there and to perform all these things. These few hints which Krishna gave in between, this is a simple path. Now Krishna will elaborate this simple path and the topmost at the same time in the 9th chapter, which is called Raj Vidya, the most confidential knowledge. So Srila Prabhupada was asked, which chapter do you like the most in Bhagavad Gita? And Srila Prabhupada told chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge. So what is this most confidential knowledge, the topmost secret? Do not miss it. Very soon we'll be discussing in next session. Thank you so much for hearing till now. Hare Krishna.